Hi, my name is Zisha Nurlu and I am the theater program director at Eugene Lang College at the New School University. And I would love to introduce you Omar Sangare. I got the information and we are very honored and happy to have him here. Omar Sangare is a Polish actor and director who graduated from the Alexander Zelwerowicz National Academy of Dramatic Arts in Warsaw, where he studied with the Oscar-winning director Andrzej Wajda. In 1994, he was awarded a scholarship to the British American Drama Academy in Oxford, England. While there, he worked with Derek Jacobi, Alan Rickman, Michael Kahn, and Jeremy Irons. In 2006, yes, I heard that whistle, you're right. In 2006, Sangare received his PhD from the Theater Academy in Warsaw. Sangare taught at UCLA, Wesleyan University, and Westman College. Currently, he teaches in the Department of Theater at Williams College. In 2007, he became founder and artistic director of the Dialogue One, International Festival for Solo Performances at Williams Theater. He is also a leader of the United Solo Theater Project in New York City, which began in 2010. He holds many film, television, and radio credits. For his one-man drama, True Theater Critic, he was voted the best in acting by the New York International Fringe Festival in 1997. The same year, Sangare was invited to the Jerzy Grotowski Theater in Wrocław, Poland, where he won 4 prizes at the theater festival. His award-winning monodrama was presented in Poland, Canada, England, Ukraine, and Germany, and the United States. Recently acclaimed by the press for his lead part in the Arena Players Repertory Theater production of Othello. Barbara Delatiner included the distinct conclusion in her article for the New York Times that Sangare was born to play Othello. Sangare published literary works include 2 books of poetry, Postscriptum and Landscape of the Soul, collection of short stories titled Tales for Old Horse and Tales for Black Sheep, as well as many essays and articles for various magazines and newspapers in Poland. Accompanied by great American writers such as Robert Pinsky and Susan Sontag, he promoted Polish literature in the United States. In 2003, he released his first solo album, On. He also recorded Polish Christmas carols for television station in Poland. In 2005, he published Tales for Decent Men. Both Tales for Old Horse and Tales for Black Sheep are bestsellers in Poland. His recent publication is Othello Pale from Envy, which is a book version of his doctoral thesis. Omar Sangare has been selected by the US Department of State for a video project that appeared as part of President Obama's trip to Poland in May 2011 as one of the prominent Polish Americans who are proud of their heritage while having an impact on America's social and culture fabric. So it's my honor to invite Omar Sangare.
And I'm thrilled. I think that this is absolutely perfect moment for me to die, because hearing so much about myself, I must be very old and probably not that interesting person to meet. But thank you for coming anyway. To the list, I foolishly agreed to run theater department at Williams as chair from next year. So this is how I'm killing myself with my devotion to theater and to teaching as well. I recognize some faces from years. Hi, how are you? Thank you for coming. Some students I met at London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. Some students I met yesterday at the auditions. Yeah, hope you will work and we'll have fun. We'll rock and roll and see what Coltes has in store for us in his play. All right, so you heard a lot. What else would you like to hear? Okay, we're done. Before that, maybe few words to not disappear in a strange way. As I appeared in strange way, being born in Poland, last century. So you can imagine what kind of surprise that was for folks in Poland. And we're talking about monolith of particular image of Polish people back then. So when I was born, I discovered, not that much me, but other folks around me, they discovered with a great, let's call it enthusiasm, that there's one person of color around here. Not in the block, not in the neighborhood, but in the entire town. So that was quite peculiar for them. I learned about how peculiar it was day by day. There were funny situations, there were incredible situations, not much of scary situation, although I recall one, there were two kind of gangsters, I would say. It was a late evening in Warsaw, and they approached me thinking that I can be lost, I can be foreigner, I can be scared, I probably have dollars. So they approached me, of course, with the intention to rob me. Why not? But they were not prepared to hear fluent Polish, which became my, 4 years, the best weapon ever. I used to joke and use old-fashioned Polish. That was very shocking for people who saw me in Poland and thought, what? Wait, it's probably voice-over he has somewhere. Because it's impossible to have a person of such speaking Polish to that extent. Well, that was funny. That was theatrical. Wherever I went and found people, people found me with curiosity. And I thought like, you know what? I feel like I was born on stage. So having this interest in front of me, why don't I let them pay for my appearances on stage? And this is what took me to Warsaw, to our capital, in order to study at the National Theater Academy in Warsaw as a first student of color. When I showed up, people were quite confused, telling me that it's a theater academy. It's University of Warsaw, where you go. It's you go straight away, and I said no. I'm interested in theater, but this is a Polish theater. Yes, I'm interested in Polish theater. Some professors were quite compelled, thinking, okay, he's good, but if we allow him to study and then let him be an actor as he wishes, what he will play later on, maybe this favor will be his trap. He will play Othello and Othello and then Othello and Othello again. But there were some other very bright-minded professors who actually noticed that this is the new phase of how we look like in Poland. And for that reason, I could play any part that was traditionally related to Polish image. So from the very beginning, it was great experience for me and experiment for my school to allow me be there to study with one of the most dramatically savvy actors in Poland and learn many things related to technical stuff, but also being compelled by something we have inside of us, something we don't always show, but have it as a special something we have. So that was my take. Imagine being in a situation in show business when you literally have no competition. In Poland, I had no competition. I felt lucky, the most lucky actor ever. I was asked to participate in movies and television series, in theatrical events, performances, always feeling that it is me who's choosing whether I will be performing or not. Another great sense was to use it for not only for myself, but for those who were appearing in Poland more often, folks from abroad with different background, skin color, and so forth and so on. So my idea was to accept roles that were not only focusing on the facade of human nature, of what you see, but also roles that can take you a little bit deeper. I started to write poetry and books. I appeared on TV for many occasions speaking about race, about social justice, about promise of new, whatever was new in front of us. And that was something beyond theatrical experience, something I did treasure a great deal being in Poland. But at some point I was repeating myself on and on. And therefore I decided to challenge myself going someplace else, discover more. I came up with a solo show. I wrote a piece. I asked myself to direct it, and I said yes. I was looking for an actor and asked myself whether, and I said, wait a second, yes. So basically, I became a captain and one that was selected and sentenced to face the lonely road for an artist. Little did I know, it was not that lonely because it brought me to many places, to Edinburgh, to New York, to Canada, to Germany, Poland, of course. It was phenomenal experience traveling with one person show. It's hard, but then at the end of the show, you don't have to share the glamour with anyone else. You have this light and you have your audience, if you're lucky, and you're taking this thrill home, getting ready for another show and another show and another show, till the moment I realize I would like to do something for those who may feel or be intrigued the same way as I was, being in theater and being into solo theater, committed to such. So I bravely, and it was kind of suicidal thought at that time. Many people were absolutely convinced that that was suicidal thought. And thought was to start with a theater festival for solo performances in the epicenter of theatrical district here in Manhattan. I went on sabbatical, saw many theaters, and found Theater Row. And right from the start, I have no doubt that that will become my home, at least for 1 year. We started with 47 performances, already being, as the world's largest solo theater festival. It's a very large sentence to repeat. So from that year, we started to compete with ourselves, presenting shows from many continents, cultures, through many languages, reaching the point last fall when we hosted 120 different productions from 6 continents. This is where we found ourselves after working 10 years for United Solo. Michael Miller, my dear friend and professor at Williams as well, was from the beginning with me in this idea. I remember when we debated whether United Solo as a title is something people will like or accept. And then Marcin Lipinski joined us to put together a machine so we could run it for 10 years. And right now, it's a great joy for me to have Pat McAndrew with us today, who is Associate Artistic Director, who will tell you a little bit about United Solo, and I will have a glass of water. So that was my first act. In second, I don't have.
Well, thank you, Omar. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of coming into this United Solo world from an interesting perspective because I started out as a performer. I performed in the 2017 United Solo Theater Festival. And there was something about this festival that really stuck out to me that seemed very different from a lot of other things I was a part of, and it was the community that was present within United Solo. And to kind of go off of what Omar was just talking about, I think the name is perfect in that it's uniting those who do solo performance. And especially at the closing night gala, at the end of every festival, they have a closing night gala. And I remember going up to Martian and you know, just talking about my show, talking about other shows. And it was actually shortly after I moved to New York, too. I had only been in New York for a couple months. And I was so surprised that someone was talking to me from the festival, and I was just one person out of many. That just blew my mind. And then I had the opportunity to talk to Omar a bit more, you know, at one of the master classes. And I was just amazed by this organization. And so, and now I have the opportunity to work with Omar, Martian, the rest of the United Solo team, and it's been such a great honor for me. So I think what I'm going to do next is go through just a couple slides, a couple images that embody the United Solo community, and then we'll probably piggyback to Omar to see maybe if you have additional comments to some of the images and you know, plans for the future for the organization. So I think it's safe to say that Omar's coming at this festival with a wide variety of unique experiences, many of which he has just shared. I think that what Omar had discussed before, what makes United Solo so special, and I think what makes the United Solo name so visceral, is that we're bringing people together from all over the world. it's not just people from America, it's people from a wide variety of different backgrounds and sharing a wide variety of different stories as well that really are captivating and unite us on a very human level. It's been amazing just for myself personally, having been involved in the festival and then having the opportunity to see some of the shows as well, to just, it allowed me to gain a deeper understanding of humanity. And I know that's a big statement, and it seems like, really? Is that true? But it's absolutely true. I've found that I've been able to connect with people on a whole different level through hearing their story through solo performance. And then, like Omar was saying, Theater Row has been their United Solo's home for the past 10 years, and I think it's, at least in my short time with the organization, it's been amazing just to see the camaraderie between Theater Row as an organization and United Solo as an organization. And of course, there's been a variety of press. Every year, we award the United Solo Award to someone who's been outstanding in the solo performance realm. Omar, I don't know if you want to speak specifically to any of those artists who have won the award in the past, or kind of those type of relationships that have been cultivated throughout the years.
Yes. Yes. Suspense. One performance, which was quite amazing to see. It was presented at the first festival, as I remember correctly, by Herbert Kaluza, who is Polish actor, but for years working in Germany. He brought a show and performed it in 4 different languages. And that was one of the most unique experiences I ever have in theater. So he was quite reserved at the beginning. That was my idea, to have more languages, because his original version was in German. And I thought that his character, who was placed in Odessa, multicultural place, and him coming from many cultures, he may speak many languages. And it was phenomenal how he was finding exact language to speak about peculiar things. So if something was duszoszczypательny, very nostalgic, he was using Russian language. When he was describing very precisely day and times and events in his life, then he was speaking in German. Then sometimes he was switching to Polish, and then sometimes to English, to make sure that his audience is actually following, that people he sees actually get a portion of this performance. If we have about 10 years from now, I would love to describe every second, everyone who performed with us at the festival, but time is running, so I remove myself for a second.
These are just a wide variety of the faces that have joined us throughout the festival. Oh, I don't know if this is something that you'd also like to talk about, is the relationship with the Actors Fund. I think this is a really amazing component of United Solo that I think is worth noting.
From the very beginning, we thought in my head that it would be great not only to perform for the pleasure of performing, but also to acknowledge a large community of artists involved in theatrical dream. That's why I was knocking to the door of Actors Fund, proposing a new project, which was a fundraising project, which we have repeated every year ever since. And at the end of each festival, we have a very nice check for our entertaining community.
And this is just, I think this is an early profile of maybe one of the first festivals, maybe?
Yeah, that was
shows.
idea.
Yeah.
Idea to collect plays and make them available 24/7 through digital library.
This is a video of Fiona Shaw just talking about the festival.
Solo theatre is a way of expressing not one person, but the many people that might be in your head or in the head of the imagination. It's also a fantastic way of having a conversation with an audience. You're holding the audience, and the audience are filtering their imaginations through the performer. As technology, increases, that the one-to-one feeling that you get to know one person over that night is maybe a more intense way of experiencing some bits of theatre. If you think you haven't got enough people to make a play with, don't worry about it. There's enough audience to make a play with. Write your piece. Say what it is that you want to do. Describe what you're trying to do, and then subvert it. Do something else. Never do what you set out to do. And submit your piece to this wonderful solo group and get your show on. Submit your piece, submit it by DVD or submit it by text, and try and get seen, try and get auditioned. And then, with a bit of luck, you'll have your show shown in the centre mecca of solo shows in the world.
What I really like about that video and about a wide variety of different artists that United Solo has had is that it's an organization that's not only resonant with people like myself. I really see myself as towards obviously the beginning of my career. And so finding an artistic community, a creative community that is welcoming and inviting, especially in New York City where so much is going on, it's very appealing to somebody like me. But what I think is very special about United Solo is that it's also very appealing to those who are very distinguished in their careers, who have had very impressive careers throughout the years. And there's something about United Solo that speaks to them as well. And so we've been very fortunate to build these relationships over the past 10 years. Something that I've had the great fortune to help orchestrate is the Masterclass series. And what's been great about these opportunities is that it really gives our participants and our United Solo community an inside look into a variety of professionals who are working in the theater, film, and television space. We've had some great guests, including Bill Bowers, Anne Bogart, Olympia Dukakis. Then we also have Zijan up there as well, which was an amazing class. I had the opportunity to help with in the orchestration of that class as well. And why I didn't create the Masterclass series, but I've been overseeing it for a while now. And what I personally love about it is that it just adds to the familial family community aspect, and it brings those professionals in with the participants. And so it's really been a special addition to the United Solo organization. And so the past 10 years we've been doing United Solo in New York City. This coming year we're doing our first festival in London. I don't know, Omar, if you want to say some words about that.
Yes, it's never wrong to advertise your project, right? I thought that was funny. It wasn't. After 10 years, we decided to expand our project and to get to West End. I signed a contract last year, and this 2020 year will start with the first season in London, having both festivals in London for 2 weeks and then continuing in New York for another 10 weeks. So that's the scope, that's the dream in theater I was fortunate to be part of. It was phenomenal at some point to notice that all what you may have in mind and something sometimes that sounds like Mission Impossible, and people kind of laugh aside or smile, have different opinion on where you're heading and whether that would be achievable at all. But then when you're putting your energy, your talent, and you're there, you're working with your passion, and you're working for other people, then you find other people around you. And it was amazing, phenomenal feeling I had during a second run of United Solo. I entered the space and realized that I know anyone in the theater. Audience, there was no singular person I knew. Performer, of course, I knew from portfolio, but I realized that this is perpetuum mobile, that this is something that is running because people are excited about it. And from that point, I really love to remove myself every now and then and have a great pleasure to see people excited about United Solo. I was not long time ago evaluating theater department in some college. And one professor told me, "Oh, you are so you are interested in solo performance. So solo performance. Look, if you are in New York, there is an organization, United Solo. You really have to." And he told me about United Solo to such an extent that I had a great time to learn about our project from a different perspective. Sometimes I come congratulate actors after their performances, and sometimes I hear, "And you, who are you?" And I used to say, I'm just helping out a little bit at the festival." And they were like, "Oh, okay, yes, you're helping out, but could you help me to find Marcin or Pat?" And I will do. And also, by the way, you know what? There is a chair. I forgot to bring this chair. Could you just bring this chair? And I said, I would do everything, but step by step. The next day, I received emails. "Oh my God, I was in shock. I didn't realize." And it is all phenomenal experience that I'm not taking egotistically for myself, but have a great privilege and great joy to see other people realizing their dreams as well. So that will conclude with Amen. In terms of where we're heading. If we have time, do we have time?
Yes, maybe we'll maybe in 10 minutes maybe, or 7 minutes we can start questions and answers, or if you want now.
Superb. Superb, we have time. Wonderful. Usually I complain and I'm not a very good friend with time that is passing so fast. But let me mute myself and hear from you. I would rather have transformed this solo performance into a dialogue which we may continue with. Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about your show that you wrote and performed in? Well, what it was about, what instigated it?
It was a show about Theater Critic. Very cruel theater critic who just saw a performance he was not happy with. and he's coming home in order to write a review, brutal review. And he's in a kind of Beckettian darkness, and he's opening old-fashioned typewriter, and then illumination comes to him, to where he is, and then he imagines himself being an actor on stage. And there are moments when he's closing the box of Pandora typewriter, and he's alone. And when he's opening up, then he's possessed by theatrical demons, thinking that, God, I'm on stage. Dark comedy, intimate piece. When I came with this piece to New York, some people were absolutely convinced that I am theater critic, which was to me strange, because I come from theatrical tradition in which you don't necessarily perform yourself. You rather find some other character and transform yourself through method acting. So that was quite interesting experience. Hi.
I just heard a little rain. I'm just gonna back down the volume of my hair.
Superb. Rain?
Did you use multiple languages? Or did you do it in Polish and then translate it into English?
I started in Polish. I started in Polish and performed for several times. But then when I was preparing myself for New York International Fringe Festival, I absorbed English language translation, and that was kind of a trip for me, because I was prepared to have certain laughter, certain reactions in certain moments. Yet, in English language, reactions were different, not only because of new language, new melody, new phrases, but because of English-speaking audience and their perception. And very often I was throwing a line thinking that, oh my God, this is funny, nobody's laughing. Fuck. Or sometimes I thought that I'm like bringing some very profound and deeply spirited moment, and then someone is laughing. Why? I'm checking my zipper, everything is fine. That was just linking what I said to something in English literature that was quite funny. So that was amazing way to learn about what we have, what we share, and how our stories are received. I hope that answered. Yes.
Well, I saw you perform with John Guare. It was the most incredible performance, and it was based on the life of a Polish actress. And I know there was an interconnection there about sort of art represent, the whole idea of the mirrored life. And I want to know if you could explain what that was about and how that came about.
Great. Thank you for that intriguing question. I'm not surprised. I'm in dialogue with a solo performer herself, being and performing at our festival several times. Indeed, that was amazing experience. Starting with a quite sad event, which was farewell gathering actors. Center. And I remember John came to give few remarks about Elżbieta, Polish actress, and I was introducing Elżbieta from my perspective, working with her in Poland. And And it was fascinating to learn about her from what John Guare was talking about. After which I approached him and said, John, I've seen many solo shows, probably too many, but the show you just put together and presented, your speech for 20 minutes or so, was one of the most thrilling speeches, solo presentations I have ever seen. Little did I know that 2 weeks later he called me and we had lunch at Lincoln Center, and we start our conversation about Elżbieta, going on and on and on. Hearing him every now and then, Omar, I cannot meet you, no, not for 2 weeks, because last time you gave me such a headache. And I was, John, thank you very much, likewise. So it was very intense work with such phenomenal playwright. Work that, again, went beyond theatrical norm. It was about friendship, about who we know, who we miss, and what we treasure. And John gave me a great privilege to share a stage with him, which was quite interesting, performing with a playwright himself next to you. You better know he's lying good. Otherwise, you will not pass. So that was the experience, and thank you for kind review. I take it to my heart and pass it on John Guare, who's actually a few blocks away in this area.
Any other questions?
Yes.
So curious, so how does one exactly become part of the festival? Do we need to like take your master class first? Do we need to pay like a certain fee? What exactly is involved?
Its process is similar to other processes theater festival have around the globe. There's a lengthy process in which first you are asked to submit certain materials. So that's submissions, kind of chapter. And then we receive a lot of interesting videos, scripts, bios, so forth and so on. Some pieces are already ready, some pieces are in development, some pieces are presented by a company that is so intriguing and already has some accomplishments, or artist who is well known, or emerging actress who are greatly promising to stay phenomenal for years and years. And we take all of that into consideration and then move to another chapter, which is preparation for participation. So then again, there is of course fee involved. Welcome on this planet. Sometimes I die of envy not being in Grotowski's shoes. Literally, his company had so little money, even if sometimes nothing, that allowed him to discover poor theater. He's well known out of not having a budget big enough. We're in different century and different reality. So participation fee is helping us to make sure that company are serious about participation, and then from ticket sales, if they're popular, they have much more financially. But anyway, it is a process about learning, sharing. It's not isolated avenues we have for solo participants, but rather intend to build community and have a very condensed program. Through 10 weeks, we present from 2 up to 5 different performances per day, including Mondays as well. So you can see how our venue becomes multicultural center these days. Another phenomenal feeling is when you come to our theater willing to see 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 performances, and you're not leaving your chair, maybe for a brief intermission, but you're back, and then you're exposed to a different story in different language, and then you're back, and you may get a sense that you are actually traveling through the world. You don't have to take off your shoes, go through those frames. You don't have to open pieces of your luggage and go through the torture of digestive system at the airport. But you can truly enjoy what other people are bringing to you. That's very convenient and very rewarding learned way to learn about nowadays. Yes.
So this whole idea of solo performance is very new to me. I've never seen a solo performance. I've never experienced one at all.
Shame on you.
I know, right? So I guess I was hoping you could just speak about the intimacy of walking out onto a stage and just performing. I mean, Zishan's told me that she's done performances in an hour and a half or 2 hours on stage by herself. And I just want to know if there's a level of intimacy that is developed with the audience that you don't get in other shows.
Absolutely.
Or if there's a level of I don't know if it's cathartic. What's the good part about this? I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think. I think I do. So I try to answer. First I would say it will be whatever you want this to be. You can choose the form, you can choose you can choose language, you can choose material, you can choose many things in your creative process. That's one. Second of all, once you have it, you are an actor. You're not saying, oh, I was in a production, that was 2 years ago, I'm auditioning tomorrow, and most likely I'll be cast, so I am actor. But recently I do not act, but I think I'm an actor. So when you have a solo performance, you don't think that you are an actor because you are an actor. You can wake up and perform it for your family, for your friends. Go and find some festivals, other platforms that will be interested in sharing your work. And this is how you train and stay put in this profession. One extra thing is that these days people tend to present themselves through social media. They have their profiles, right? Here and there, and here and there. YouTube channel all over the sudden you have. And solo piece is the way to have your profile on. Profile you have to present your work, your talents, the way you feel, think, you and the character you're creating. So that is also something that got really popular these days. 10 years ago, I was skeptical, thinking that, okay, we'll have 48 performances, next year was 73, then 87, and I thought at some point we probably reach the point we'll be, running off So no, not at all. We have hundreds of submissions, folks who are applying from all over the world. It's so exciting. It is exciting. And they all want to be a part of this social, not only artistic, but social movement, when you can put your profile as an artist, as an actor on stage. Don't waste your time. Do you have your solo piece? Time flies. Speaking of which, do we have some? Maybe last question. Something very difficult to answer.
So how long are the pieces that you require?
Sorry?
How long are the pieces that you require?
And no, this is not a difficult question. I cannot answer that. The shortest we had was 7 minutes. The longest, 2.5 hours. 7 minute performance was quite a story for late seaters. They were late, 6 minutes late. And we allowed them to join standing ovation. So they were absolutely thrilled that the show starts with such applause. A few seconds later, they just realized that they missed the boat. Yes?
Can you talk a little bit about the difference or the continuity between your interest in solo work and your interest as an artist, as an actor, as a director in non-solo work?
Oh, great. That's a difficult question. It's so difficult that I will pass it for next time now. I actually like to split my interest between many fields. Working with students, that is a great passion of mine. I never thought years before, that I'll be interested in it. Now I'm finding very refreshing, very form that asks me to be updated with what's going on. In terms of switching to directing, then I feel like God, because I can create the world with rules and characters. And of course, I'm not a god, but the feeling is thrilling. Then I switched to be an actor. And John Guare is next to me, so I don't worry about the entire world, but I care about my character. And writing also gives me a pleasure to pay attention to what we think, what we say, and what can be captured on paper. And changing is for me to stay alive. I would be very easily bored doing one thing. I don't know if that's unfortunately or not. It's just a fact. I'm envious realizing that some people can dedicate themselves to one channel, and they are doing this absolutely phenomenally well. I'm not those people. I have to change, otherwise I will feel like I'm stuck in Poland forever. So that's why I travel, I commute a lot between Williams and New York. We'll be commuting between New York and London from this coming season to exhaust myself and to prove that I'm still alive, maybe tired, but alive and content doing what is my passion. Thank you. thank you for having me, and Zishan, again, thank you for putting this event together.